Tonight's film looks and sounds like a dream, but it plays like a nightmare. It's a film that, once you've seen, you'll never forget. The Reflecting Skin is set in the wide open farmlands of post-war America, but it was actually shot in Canada by a British director. Released in 1990, it was the featured debut of Philip Ridley, a British playwright, painter and novelist. It could be a vampire story. Then again, it might not. What it is a tale of childhood innocence twisted into something poisonous by the secrets and sins of adults. At the centre is Seth Dove, an 8-year-old boy. He lives in a farmhouse with a distant father and a cruel mother. His world is wide fields, endless skies, and a strange neighbour, the English widow, Dolphin Blue. When Seth and his friends inflate a frog and force it to explode in her face, Seth becomes convinced she's a vampire. And as local boys begin to vanish, his fantasies turn darker.
But now, we got a new kind of animal. One I ain't seen before.
Then his older brother, played by Viggo Mortensen, returns from the Pacific, haunted by what he saw.
You like those bombs, don't you?
Oh, I love them. Well, that noise.
I've seen the big ones, you know. Lots of them. The biggest ones there are.
Seth's paranoia grows until it's impossible to separate childish imagination from genuine horror, and the results are devastating. The Effect is a film that looks and sounds like a dream, but often lurches into the macabre. Ridley has said that he wanted to capture the real experience of childhood, not the sweetness, but the terror. The way that ordinary events can feel apocalyptic when you're 8 years old. He drew on his own Catholic upbringing in East London, the religious rituals, the fear of sin, the sense of punishment hanging over every act. Then he transplanted those memories into the mythical American Midwest, creating a landscape that feels both familiar and alien. And it's dripping in those biblical touchstones, stigmata, the manger, and the soul-cleansing baptism of fire. Cinematographer Dick Pope, who would later work with Mike Leigh, shot the film in blazing sunlight. This is horror without darkness. It's terror baked into wheat fields and in the sky. Every frame looks like a painting, golden and pastoral. But the beauty is suffocating and oppressive. Critics at the time didn't quite know how to place it. Some compared it, rightly, to Terrence Malick with its luminous landscapes, while others saw David Lynch in its surreal menace. They're both fair comparisons.
Looks like an egg.
Ridley himself just called it a nightmare remembered. The score, by Nick Bicat, is equally unsettling. It's sweeping orchestral, part lullaby, part funeral march, and part angelic hymn. Lindsay Duncan is excellent, as ever. Vulnerable and intimidating, she plays Dolphin Blue, the enigmatic widow in black. At the time, Duncan was already respected on the stage, but far less known on film. Ridley cast her because he wanted someone who might be a grieving recluse or a vampire, depending on how you look at them.
Time. Even angels lose their wings eventually.
In The Reflecting Skin, she's essential. Without her ambiguity, the film doesn't work. She becomes the screen onto which Seth projects his terror, and her final scene will stay with you for a long, long time. Philip Ridley would go on to direct only 2 more features, The Passion of Darkly Noon in 1995 and Heartless in 2009. He's found more success as a playwright and an artist. Dick Pope became one of Britain's greatest cinematographers, earning an Oscar nomination for Mr. Turner. As for Viggo Mortensen, this was his second credited role. A decade later, he'd be Aragorn in The Lord of the Rings. But here you can see the raw, searching quality that made him a star. It's one of the most visually beautiful horror films ever made, and it's also one of the most disturbing.